So today on Project Shop, I have this trailer load of these massive lights. Now, these, I'm pretty sure I seen a couple 1,000-watt transformers. So hopefully some of them are double copper. If not, you know, it is what it is. I got $300 into all this. Plus there was some other things somewhere around here. But funny thing about these LEDs right here, no, not these ones, that one right there, that particular one, I actually sold this guy these LEDs, this one here and this one. It's like a Cobra head. I sold him these LEDs like 5 years ago. And how that came about is I wind up getting literally pallets of not only this style, but this style right here. I still have some of these brand new in the box. Okay, these are super bright. When you see me outside working at night, this is what I use. I built this custom little thing to have a portable light. What happened was one of my customers' partner robbed them for like $1 million, like swindled $1 million out of the company. And then they found out that the guy had a warehouse in Miami full of LEDs. So they went down there, repoed the LEDs, and got the FBI, the state police, and a couple other people involved because there was so much money involved. Oh, and the manufacturer. The guy actually stole the LEDs from the manufacturer, right? So the customer went, repoed them, had them in his warehouse. The FBI and the police didn't want nothing to do with the lights. You know, that wasn't their deal. What were they going to do with them? And then the manufacturer, because they were already like a year old or 2 years old, they were already, these were like first gen lights, and they were already on like gen 2 or 3. So the manufacturer just writ it off. They didn't want it back. So there were literally pallets of Cobra heads like this, different style Cobra heads that I actually pulled that light out of. I have a bunch over there, but they came out of like the old style street light Cobra heads that had the big glass dome on it, but they were LEDs. I had high bays, I had low bays, I had screw-in dimmable LED lights, which I still have boxes of. They had so much of this stuff and nobody wanted it because there's no there's like no UL listing on this stuff. Oh, this ain't it. This one here, right? It doesn't even have any markings. So there's no UL listing, okay? And they're made by this company, C-Smart, right out of China. I'm pretty sure that's where they came from. Because they didn't have a UL listing or a warranty on them, they couldn't really put them on a big job or any job really where they need inspections. You know what I'm saying? They put them in here and there on like side projects or whatever, but they couldn't use them on an inspected job. So they really didn't know what to do with them. And rather than scrap them, you know, they got a hold of me, and I was literally buying like these lights for $15 a piece and selling them for $120 a piece. Now these actually sold 5 years ago when LEDs were first coming around, man. These were a hot item, man. I couldn't keep these lights, and those, what I call the Google eyes, this black one right here, these were by far the best seller. These ones right here, I couldn't keep them for nothing. I still have a couple boxes of them up there and some other brand new LEDs. The Cobra head lights like that, I was able to off a bunch of them. The high bays and low bays, those sold like hotcakes. For a good year and a half, I was selling LEDs every month, like tons of them, man. It was a good deal. But now, this is like the third time I'm getting these back because you can't get parts for these things. And you know, once the drivers go bad, or even if these go bad, if they get wet, you can't get parts for them. So they got no choice but to change them out. They got 5 years out of them, now they got to change them. Instead of like these lights here, these ones probably been up for 20 years or so. These were really old, really heavy. You know, you can tell they've been around the block. You know what I'm saying? These definitely, they got their money out of these lights. So I'm not sure where they came from, but they're 1,000 watts, so they were pretty bright. Still kind of warm out here. It is actually the end of the day. It's probably like 5 o'clock or something like that on a Sunday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it cool off out here a little bit. Maybe even wait till it gets dark or whatever. But I do have these LEDs here. Now, the back side of these LEDs, that's all extruded. Big, heavy extruded. And we got some medium ones over here that are cast. Might be a little bit extrusion in there, but these were 80 pounds a piece. So we're gonna get a lot of good material out of that. And I'm pretty sure this is just take it apart and separate it. There's no driver in there. It's just the LED thing. Basically, I could probably just knock the glass out and sell it as cast. But I do want to get the top dollar for that extrusion. There's a big chunk. And then almost the bottom of this plate, that's solid, like, I want to say that's extruded aluminum. That's like a big plate of aluminum, but it has all these fins welded to it. And I did in a previous video, I don't know if I have it on video, but I did try to take those apart and bend them off and save that aluminum plate. But I actually have aluminum plate, so that's not really worth my time. As you can see over here, I have a nice stockpile, a big old plate, okay, for some projects I want to do. And I know the shop is a mess, and someone actually made a comment about me cleaning the shop and how it'll never be clean. They're probably right, but I am going to make a valid effort to get all this stuff cleaned up and you know, in a more coherent, workable situation than what we got going on right now, because this is just chaos at every level. But for now, we're just gonna get right back on stripping this wire here. Let it cool off a little bit out there. We'll get that dialed up and in a container. I do have some aluminum from that last little bit of transformers, and that's gonna be cast. We have these here to break down. These, I think, were someone might have already, these ones feel really light. That might have a transformer in it. But we'll get all this broke down. My goal today is pretty much get that trailer broke down, everything off of it broke down, and load it back up. I'm supposed to go pick up some copper, some clean strip copper. Same guy I got this from. This is actually from the same guy I got all that 600 from, that they pulled in and screwed up. That big couple loads of where I was just getting paid like over $300 to transport the wire from Broward to Miami, which is a pretty good deal. You know, I didn't mind that at all. Even though I didn't make as much money as I would have done stripping it, I didn't have no time other than them loading it with a forklift and then unloading it in Miami with a forklift. But that guy has more strip clean wire and 2 barrels of transformers I need to pick up. So we definitely want to get this stuff kind of knocked out and get ready for Monday. Lost our screw, I'm going to pry this up, stick a piece of copper in here just to give myself a little gap right here, and we're just going to kind of bend that down. Hopefully it'll stay, and how we do. Now, the copper's not 100% peeling off, but it's coming right off. Like I can just grab these ends and kind of slide that right down. I don't know. On this size, it's always kind of tough to get a good setup. Okay, so you guys know that I like to strip my spaghetti wire just by, usually I'll stick with one color. And all this stuff is black and pretty much all the same size, so it really don't matter. So I'm not concerned about finding ends. I just grab the wire and basically make an end and then let the machine start feeding this up. And I try to keep the lengths below 10 feet or around 10 feet so that it doesn't get all tangled up in here. Like I can grab a piece of wire and just pull it out relatively easy. You know, this piece here is kind of long, but for the most case, you just keep pulling it out, and it's just going to untangle. It's not going to get all bird nested up on you and cause all kinds of issues if you just run the full length without someone on the backside. And this is where the clutch comes in really handy. I am having a problem with the wire jumping off of this thing. I mentioned it, I think, in the previous video, where that hole is kind of opened up, but we're dealing with it. Is I like to grab from different spots, and eventually, especially if you got a big pile of spaghetti, you're going to start coming up on the back side of the ones you already cut, and it's just going to make the pile go down really easy without too many tangles. Now I could just let that run, but like I said, you don't want to get it all crazy on the backside. Oh. You're going to make more work for yourself. Now these were a lot of, like, I could have put this on the unspooler or the donut maker. That's originally what I made that donut maker for, is to put them spools on there and just run them back. But now that I got that jaw, I just cut them in half. If I had someone on the backside that could pick this wire up as fast as I'm feeding it, I would run the whole spool in one shot. But it's coming right off. Grab that with a pair of gloves and just run your hand down and feed that down into your thing as fast as possible. All right. Finding it and making it. Problem I'm having. It jumped off that first cutter, and then it went through that roller on the backside and flattened it. And that will never go through that machine again because it's flattened. I throw it to the side, and then I run all this flat stuff through this machine because this will strip any size wire. And I get a lot of comments all the time like, oh, I need to get a new machine, or I need to get a backup machine. I got a backup machine bolted right to my machine. This is a $3,000 machine if you had to buy it. I paid $500 for it. From one of my electrician customers that didn't want to strip wire no more. So now I get to strip all their wire with their machine. telling you, you save yourself a lot of aggravation keeping it below 10 foot. Coming up on the backside of all those pieces we already cut. That one got flattened. This here is why you got to have a gap back there. We barely got a gap. That wire is pretty big. We should have a bigger gap. Basically, that end there hit this roller, and because it didn't get sucked in, it just started curling up right there. Now we might be able to send that back through. Okay. Wire here got flat. Run that to the other machine. Funny, I'm stripping this wire, I'm using this hole. There's actually two more small holes. I couldn't even imagine stripping wire that would need to go through these little tiny holes right here. I'm just running this wire here to show you that this machine will pretty much strip any size wire. Now, what I don't like about this machine is how it goes back and forth. Like it cuts it, and then it seems like it walks over because there's so many blades. It's like going in between them. I really don't like that, but it does do a nice job of stripping it, but you are going to get these little needles. You know what I'm saying? I call this thing the needler. But it'll strip any size wire, and unlike this machine, I can strip two at the same time through it, you know, of the same size. I can strip two 500s through this machine. Matter of fact, I don't know if it has enough power to do it, but you look at this size here, this hole, it has the bigger rollers. These rollers are pretty much, there's three different size blades. All the way up until here is the same size blade. That one's a little different, but all these blades right here are the same size. And then all these little tiny blades way up here are pretty much the same size. So technically, if I was running like this size wire, I could run three of them. It's just gonna pick it up and then blade. It really doesn't matter where they go, the way this machine is designed. You know, you just open it up and then bam. You could run 1, 2, 3 of the same sizes in here. I ran 4 in these 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a video of me running 4 wires in this machine at the same time. So it's actually a pretty incredible machine, but it does have its downsides. And the downside is, one, it's slower. it's slow as shit. And two, it needles everything up. Now, the upside is where this one has an advantage over that machine is when it comes to this wire that ran through that machine jumped off the blade and got flattened. Once it's flattened, for whatever reason, I guess because it's round cups, it gets in there and just jumps off the blade. That machine won't strip this wire no more. But this machine is perfect for this stuff and does a great job. Find the right hole. It'll do a good job at cleaning that up. We gotta just tweak down on that a little bit more. There it is. See that? Now, like I said, you always get these little bits here where that blade, it's walked off the blade or it's turning or something. But it does come right off. I do highly recommend wearing gloves with this machine. So all this wire that got flattened, we're gonna run it right in here. We're gonna needle the crap out of it, but we're gonna recover all that copper. Look at that. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before? Let's get me an extension, another drill. Oh, you see that? Oh. This is why you gotta have good extensions. Now, Damn, it's raining already. Again. Now, what we can do with this, let's just turn it sideways. Let it slide off of that other bolt. In this thing, what we're gonna need is a smaller chisel. There we go. Once you get a little edge on it, oh no, I had it. Just absolutely glued on there, man. Now look at this. This thing is a solid chunk. I mean, what would you call that? I know it's not really yeah, we ain't going this far in the rest of them.